A patient once told me something I've never forgotten. She said, "Doctor, every morning I wake up, but my body doesn't. No pain, no dizziness, just heavy legs, slow thinking, a strange feeling that something isn't ready yet." She lived alone, and she didn't know that the most dangerous minutes of her entire day were the first 5 after waking. If you're over 60, those quiet morning moments, before coffee, before breakfast, before your first step, are when most falls, fainting spells, and sudden strokes occur. Today, we'll show you why mornings are risky after 60, and the simple habit you must do before your feet touch the floor, a habit that could protect your balance, your brain, and your independence. But first, you need to understand why this matters. When you wake up in the morning, something subtle but powerful happens before your feet ever touch the floor. Your mind wakes faster than your body. Your brain flips the switch to consciousness instantly, alert, decisive, ready to move. And it sends a simple command: stand up, start the day, get going. But your body answers more slowly, because while your thoughts are already racing ahead, your circulation is still catching its breath. Your blood vessels are relaxed from sleep, your heart rate is lower, and your muscles, especially the deep muscles in your legs that act like pumps to push blood back up toward your heart, are still half asleep, quiet, unprepared for sudden movement. And that mismatch, that brief delay between intention and physiology, is where the problem begins. Your brain expects instant cooperation, but your circulation says, "Not yet, not so fast." And when you rise too quickly, gravity immediately pulls blood downward into your legs and feet, and under ideal conditions, your body would counteract that by tightening blood vessels, increasing heart rate, and activating leg muscles to push blood upward again. But after 60, these responses naturally slow, not because something is broken, not because you are weak, but because time changes the speed at which systems communicate. Blood pressure often dips more noticeably in the morning hours. Nerve signals travel a little more slowly than they used to. Reflexes that once fired instantly now take an extra moment. And the result is that for a few critical seconds, blood pools in the lower body instead of reaching the brain where it is needed most. The brain, exquisitely sensitive to oxygen, reacts immediately to that shortage, and you may feel lightheaded, unsteady, dizzy, or as if the room is tilting. Your vision might narrow or dim. Your balance may feel uncertain, and in that moment, many people blame themselves, thinking they stood up wrong, or they're getting old, or something is seriously wrong. But the truth is far more precise and far less frightening. This is not weakness. This is timing. This is a coordination issue between systems that are all still healthy, but waking up at different speeds, and understanding that changes everything. Because once you recognize that the danger lies in the gap, those few seconds where your brain is ready, but your circulation is not, you can begin to close that gap intentionally, gently, safely, instead of forcing your body to keep up with your thoughts. Consider what sleep actually is: hours of horizontal rest, minimal movement, reduced blood pressure, slower breathing, and relaxed muscles. And when morning comes, your body does not instantly revert to daytime mode the second your eyes open. It transitions, and transitions require patience. Yet modern life trains us to rush. Alarms blare, schedules loom, and we jump up as if we're late for something, ignoring the fact that our physiology has its own clock, one that cannot be bullied without consequences. After 60, the blood vessels that once snapped tight instantly now respond more gradually. Baroreceptors, the sensors that detect changes in blood pressure, take longer to send signals, and the autonomic nervous system, which quietly manages these adjustments without conscious thought, needs a moment to recalibrate, especially after a long night of stillness. And when that moment is denied, when the body is forced upright too quickly, the result can be a sudden drop in blood flow to the brain, known as orthostatic hypotension. Though many people experience it without ever hearing the term, they just know the feeling. The brief wave of dizziness, the need to grab onto something, the unsettling sense that the body betrayed them. But it didn't. It simply wasn't ready yet. And here's what matters most. This experience does not mean decline is inevitable. It does not mean independence is slipping away. And it does not mean you must live in fear of standing up. It means you need to respect the sequence, to let the body catch up with the mind, to give circulation the few seconds it needs to rise with you instead of lagging behind. Because the real risk isn't the dizziness itself, it's what happens if you fall. If you lose balance before your body regains equilibrium. And falls after 60 are not trivial. They can change lives, yet many of them are preventable with awareness alone. Imagine instead waking up and pausing, sitting at the edge of the bed, letting your feet touch the floor, activating those leg muscles gently, allowing blood pressure to stabilize, giving your nervous system time to send its signals and receive confirmations, breathing steadily, then standing with intention rather than urgency, and suddenly the instability disappears, not because you're stronger, but because you're synchronized. This is the difference between fighting your body and working with it, between frustration and understanding. And once you grasp this principle, you begin to notice it everywhere. When climbing stairs, when standing after long sitting, when bending down and rising again, your body isn't failing you. It's communicating, asking for a beat, a pause, a moment of cooperation. And perhaps the most important shift is psychological. Because when people believe dizziness equals weakness, they withdraw, they move less, they avoid activity. And that avoidance actually worsens circulation, muscle strength, and balance over time, creating a self-fulfilling cycle. But when you understand that the issue is timing, not capability, confidence returns, movement becomes safer, and independence is preserved. Aging does not mean surrendering control. It means learning new rules, adapting strategies, respecting physiology rather than resisting it. And the morning is where this lesson begins, quietly, every day, in those first moments between lying down and standing tall. So the next time you wake up and feel that urge to spring out of bed, remember this. Your brain may be ready instantly, but your body is still loading the program, still warming the engine, still shifting gears. And if you rush the process, you pay the price. But if you slow it down just enough, everything stabilizes, everything aligns, and you step into the day steady, grounded, and in control. Because the most dangerous moment isn't standing up, it's standing up too fast. And once you learn how to master that moment, you'll realize something powerful. The solution isn't in medication or fear or giving up activity. It's in understanding your body's timing. And that understanding might be the key to staying upright, independent, and confident for years to come. So ask yourself this before you stand tomorrow morning. Are you letting your body wake up with you? Or are you leaving it behind? Your calves are often called your second heart. And that isn't poetic exaggeration. It's physiology in motion. Because every step you take squeezes deep veins in your lower legs and pushes blood upward against gravity, back toward your heart and brain. A quiet mechanical assist that works so long as you keep moving. So when you walk, shift your weight, flex your ankles, or even pace across the room, those muscles act like a pump, rhythmically helping circulation do what gravity constantly tries to undo. And for most of your life, this system hums along unnoticed, faithfully doing its job without complaint or credit. But overnight, when you lie still for hours, that second heart effectively shuts down, not because something is broken, but because muscles only pump when they move. And during sleep, your legs are relaxed, horizontal, quiet, allowing blood and fluid to slowly settle where gravity encourages it to go, pooling gently in the lower legs and feet, especially if veins have lost some of their youthful elasticity, which is a normal part of aging. So by morning, before your first step even touches the floor, circulation is technically working, but it's sluggish, like a city waking up before the buses start running. And when you stand too quickly, gravity wins in that moment, pulling blood downward faster than your cardiovascular system can compensate, briefly reducing blood flow to the brain. And that's when the room tilts, vision narrows, stars appear, and people say, "I stood up and everything went gray." A phrase spoken so casually, yet rooted in a precise chain of events inside the body. And for many seniors, this experience is familiar, unsettling, sometimes frightening, because it feels sudden and dramatic. But in most cases, it isn't a sudden illness. It isn't a stroke announcing itself. It isn't the body betraying you without warning. It's circulation that hasn't been invited back online yet. A system that needs a moment to reboot after hours of stillness. And the tragedy is that no one ever explains it this way. So people assume the worst, or they shrug it off as just getting old, when in reality, it's a predictable, understandable response that can often be eased once you know what's happening and why. Because the body is not failing, it's simply obeying physics, and gravity is relentless, working 24 hours a day without mercy or fatigue, always pulling fluids downward. And the only thing that consistently counters it in the legs is movement, muscle contraction, and pressure changes inside the veins, which is why long flights cause swollen ankles, why standing still for hours can make legs ache, and why lying down for a long time followed by sudden standing can cause that rush of dizziness. And as we age, the valves inside our veins, which are meant to keep blood from slipping backward, may weaken slightly, making that upward journey slower. So the morning becomes a critical transition period, a moment when the body needs cooperation rather than surprise. And yet modern life teaches us to leap out of bed to answer alarms, rush to bathrooms, or respond to responsibilities without pause, never giving the circulatory system time to catch up. And this mismatch between expectation and biology is where discomfort lives, because the heart can only pump what returns to it. And if blood is still lingering in the lower extremities, there is simply less volume available to send upward when you first stand. So blood pressure dips, the brain briefly protests, and your senses fade at the edges. And what's remarkable is how quickly this can resolve once movement begins, because a few calf contraction, a few deliberate breaths can restore balance, reminding the body how to work together again. And this is why understanding the second heart matters so much, because it shifts the story from fear to awareness, from helplessness to participation, allowing you to work with your body instead of being blindsided by it. And once you start paying attention, you notice patterns, like how stiffness in the ankles in the morning coincides with heavier legs, or how days with less walking lead to more swelling by evening, or how gentle movement before standing makes everything feel steadier. And these observations are not trivial. They are feedback, messages from a system that wants to function well, but needs certain conditions to do so. And while medication, hydration, and medical conditions all play roles in circulation, the simple mechanical action of muscle contraction is often underestimated, even though it is one of the most powerful tools the body has, requiring no prescription and no equipment, just awareness and timing. And this is particularly relevant for seniors, whose bodies may be more sensitive to rapid changes in position, whose blood pressure regulation may respond a bit slower, and whose veins may need a little extra help, not because they are weak, but because they have carried a lifetime of work, standing, walking, lifting, and enduring, and they deserve consideration rather than criticism. So when someone says, "I get dizzy when I stand," the answer is not dismissal or alarm, but curiosity, asking how long they were lying down, how quickly they stood, whether their legs had a chance to wake up first, and whether their calves were given the opportunity to do their quiet job. A few deliberate breaths can restore balance, reminding the body how to work together again. And this is why understanding the second heart matters so much, because it shifts the story from fear to awareness, from helplessness to participation, allowing you to work with your body instead of being blindsided by it. And once you start paying attention, you notice patterns, like how stiffness in the ankles in the morning coincides with heavier legs, or how days with less walking lead to more swelling by evening, or how gentle movement before standing makes everything feel steadier. And these observations are not trivial. They are feedback, messages from a system that wants to function well, but needs certain conditions to do so. And while medication, hydration, and medical conditions all play roles in circulation, the simple mechanical action of muscle contraction is often underestimated, even though it is one of the most powerful tools the body has, requiring no prescription and no equipment, just awareness and timing. And this is particularly relevant for seniors, whose bodies may be more sensitive to rapid changes in position, whose blood pressure regulation may respond a bit slower, and whose veins may need a little extra help, not because they are weak, but because they have carried a lifetime of work, standing, walking, lifting, and enduring, and they deserve consideration rather than criticism. So when someone says, "I get dizzy when I stand," the answer is not dismissal or alarm, but curiosity, asking how long they were lying down, how quickly they stood, whether their legs had a chance to wake up first, and whether their calves were given the opportunity to do their quiet job. And once you start framing it this way, mornings change becoming less about jolting into consciousness and more about easing into alignment, letting circulation rise with intention rather than scramble and panic. And it's fascinating how something so small, like flexing your feet before standing, can have such an outsized effect, because those motions send a signal, squeezing veins, nudging blood upward, telling the nervous system that posture is about to change. And this coordination between muscles, blood vessels, heart, and brain is a dance refined over millions of years, not a flaw to be rushed through. And yet the modern pace often ignores these subtleties, leading people to believe their bodies are unreliable when they are actually incredibly precise, just slower to adjust than an alarm clock demands. And this misunderstanding breeds anxiety, causing people to grip furniture, fear falling, or avoid movement altogether, which ironically worsens circulation over time, creating a loop where fear leads to inactivity. Inactivity leads to poorer blood flow, and poorer blood flow leads to more dizziness. And breaking that loop begins with knowledge, with recognizing that the gray out moment is often a message, not a mystery, saying, "Give me a second, let me catch up." And when you listen, the body responds generously, restoring clarity, balance, and confidence. And it's worth noting that this phenomenon doesn't only happen in the morning. It can occur after long naps, extended sitting, or even watching television for hours, anytime the legs remain still and dependent, which is why subtle movements throughout the day matter more than people realize, because circulation thrives on rhythm, not intensity, and small, frequent movements can be more protective than occasional bursts of effort, especially for those who worry about falls. Because stability is not just about strength, it's about blood reaching the brain at the right moment. And when that supply is steady, the world feels solid beneath your feet. And this is where the concept of the second heart becomes empowering rather than alarming, because it reminds you that part of your circulation is literally under your control, responding immediately to movement, pressure, and intention. And while you cannot negotiate with gravity, you can prepare for it, anticipate it, and counter it gently. And this preparation transforms the experience of standing from a risk into a routine, from a moment of dread into a practiced transition. And over time, these small adjustments add up, improving confidence, reducing near falls, and restoring trust in your own body, which is priceless, especially later in life when that trust may have been shaken by unexpected sensations. And none of this requires ignoring real medical concerns, because dizziness should always be discussed with a healthcare provider, especially if it's frequent, severe, or accompanied by other symptoms. But understanding the circulatory mechanics provides context, preventing unnecessary fear while encouraging appropriate caution. And it also opens the door to compassion, both for yourself and for others, because when you see someone rise slowly, pause before walking, or sit at the edge of the bed for a moment, you're not seeing frailty, you're seeing wisdom, an intuitive respect for how the body works. And perhaps the most important shift comes when we stop viewing these moments as failures and start seeing them as invitations to slow down, to move with awareness, to honor the systems that have carried us this far, because the body doesn't suddenly forget how to circulate blood. It just needs cooperation after rest. And that cooperation can be as simple as a few breaths, a few ankle circles, a moment of patience. And as you begin to integrate this understanding, mornings lose their edge, the fear of standing fades, and the gray moments become rarer, not because you forced your body to behave, but because you learned how to work with it. And now here's the part most people never hear, the part that changes everything. Because if your calves truly are your second heart, and if that heart goes quiet overnight, then the first few minutes of your morning are not just routine, they are a reactivation sequence, a critical window where the choices you make can determine how steady, clear, and confident you feel for hours afterward. And once you realize that, you can't unsee it, because every morning becomes an opportunity. And the question quietly waiting for you tomorrow is this: when you open your eyes and prepare to stand, will you rush forward and let gravity decide the outcome? Or will you wake up your second heart first and feel the difference before your feet ever touch the floor? The most common mistake seniors make in the morning is moving too fast. Not because they are careless, not because they are weak, but because no one ever explained that the body does not wake up at the same speed as the mind. The eyes open quickly, the thoughts return quickly, but the nervous system, the blood pressure, the joints, and the balance sensors do not. They need time. And when they don't get it, the body sends back one clear message: instability. Swinging out of bed is often the first mistake. It feels harmless, almost automatic. After all, it's something you've done for decades. But what worked at 40 doesn't always work at 70. When you swing your legs off the bed too quickly, your blood pressure hasn't yet adjusted to gravity. Blood pools lower in the body. The brain gets less oxygen for a moment, and dizziness follows. That lightheaded feeling isn't random. It's a warning sign. It's the body saying, "I wasn't ready." Standing immediately is the second mistake. Once the feet touch the floor, many people push themselves upright without pause. The legs may feel stiff. The knees may feel unsure. But the urge is to get moving, to shake it off, to power through. Unfortunately, this sudden rise asks the balance system to perform at full capacity before it's even online. The result is wobbling, unsteadiness, or the subtle fear of falling that lingers long after the moment passes. The most common mistake seniors make in the morning is moving too fast. Not because they are careless, not because they are weak, but because no one ever explained that the body does not wake up at the same speed as the mind. The eyes open quickly, the thoughts return quickly, but the nervous system, the blood pressure, the joints, and the balance sensors do not. They need time. And when they don't get it, the body sends back one clear message: instability. Swinging out of bed is often the first mistake. It feels harmless, almost automatic. After all, it's something you've done for decades. But what worked at 40 doesn't always work at 70. When you swing your legs off the bed too quickly, your blood pressure hasn't yet adjusted to gravity. Blood pools lower in the body. The brain gets less oxygen for a moment, and dizziness follows. That lightheaded feeling isn't random. It's a warning sign. It's the body saying, "I wasn't ready." Standing immediately is the second mistake. Once the feet touch the floor, many people push themselves upright without pause. The legs may feel stiff. The knees may feel unsure. But the urge is to get moving, to shake it off, to power through. Unfortunately, this sudden rise asks the balance system to perform at full capacity before it's even online. The result is wobbling, unsteadiness, or the subtle fear of falling that lingers long after the moment passes. The morning is not the time to rush. It is the most vulnerable time of the day. Most falls happen within the first hour of waking. Not during exercise, not outside, but right there at home, between the bed and the bathroom, when the body is still half asleep and the mind assumes everything is fine. What if, instead of rushing, the first moments of the day were used to set stability? What if the goal wasn't to get out of bed quickly, but to get out of bed safely? What if balance wasn't something you hoped would show up later, but something you activated on purpose? Imagine sitting at the edge of the bed with both feet on the floor, not as a pause of weakness, but as a moment of preparation. The spine tall, the shoulders relaxed, the breath slow and steady. In that moment, the body begins to understand what's coming. It feels gravity. It senses the floor. It recognizes orientation. And instead of being surprised by standing, it's ready for it. A simple shift of weight from side to side, while seated, tells the hips and core that movement is starting. Gentle ankle movements tell the legs to wake up. A few calm breaths tell the nervous system that there is no emergency. These signals are quiet, but they are powerful. When standing finally happens, it's no longer a shock. It's a continuation. The body rises as one unit, coordinated, supported, aware. Balance doesn't have to scramble to catch up. It's already there. This approach doesn't require equipment. It doesn't require flexibility. It doesn't even require strength. It requires awareness. And awareness is something that can improve at any age. Many seniors believe instability is just part of getting older. That wobbling, dizziness, and fear of falling are inevitable. But often, they are not signs of decline. They are signs of poor signaling. The body is capable. It simply hasn't been given the information it needs. The morning sets the tone for the entire day. When the first movement feels rushed and unstable, everything that follows feels uncertain. Walking feels cautious. Turning feels risky. Confidence shrinks. But when the morning begins with intention, the rest of the day feels different. The body remembers how to trust itself. This is why the solution isn't more exercise. It's better timing, better sequencing, better communication. A wake-up signal, not a workout. And here's the part most people don't realize. Once the body learns this signal, it doesn't forget it. Stability improves not just in the morning, but throughout the day. Standing from chairs becomes easier. Walking feels smoother. Turning feels safer. The fear of falling loosens its grip, all from changing the first few minutes of the day. So tomorrow morning, before you swing out of bed, before you rush to stand, before you hold your breath and hope for the best, remember this. Your body is listening. It's waiting for direction. And the way you move in those first moments is teaching it what to expect for the next 16 hours. Slow down. Signal first, then move. Because the way you wake up is not just how you start your day. It's how you teach your body whether it's safe to stand at all. And if you've been wondering why balance feels harder lately, why confidence has faded, or why mornings feel risky, the answer might not be your age. It might be the very first move you make tomorrow morning. Before you even think about lifting your head or swinging your legs out of bed, pause for a moment and bring your awareness down to your ankles. While your body is still horizontal and gravity hasn't begun to pull blood away from your brain, gently point your toes forward, stretching them away from you, and then slowly pull them back toward your shins. Move with intention, not force. Feel the muscles in your calves engage, relax, and engage again. Repeat this motion 10 to 15 times, slow and steady, as if you're waking up something ancient and important. Because you are. These muscles act like a second heart, helping pump blood back up toward your brain. By activating them now, before you sit up, you're giving your circulatory system a head start, quietly telling your body that movement is coming and it's time to prepare. When you're ready, don't rush. Roll gently onto your side first. Let your spine move as one unit. Place your hands in front of you and use your arms to push yourself up rather than pulling with your neck or snapping upright. Ease yourself into a seated position at the edge of the bed. Once you're sitting, stop. Don't stand yet. Let your feet rest on the floor or hang comfortably. Take a few slow breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel your chest rise and fall. This short pause may seem insignificant, but it gives your blood pressure time to stabilize and prevents that sudden wave of dizziness or lightheadedness that so many people experience in the morning. You're allowing your nervous system to catch up with your movement. Now, with your feet flat on the floor, begin gently pumping your calves again. Lift your heels while keeping your toes down. Then rock back and lift your toes while your heels rest on the floor. Move slowly, smoothly, like a calm rocking motion. Continue for 20 to 30 seconds. With each movement, you're encouraging blood flow upward, reinforcing balance, and sending a clear message to your brain that support is ready, that the ground is stable, and that your body is prepared to stand. This simple rocking motion helps coordinate muscles, circulation, and balance all at once, reducing the risk of feeling unsteady when you rise. When it feels right, place one hand on the bed, chair, or a stable surface nearby. Stand up slowly, pressing through your feet, and engaging your legs rather than pulling yourself upright. Once you're standing, don't rush off. Give your body a moment to settle into this new position. Notice how you feel. Let your vision clear. Take one more breath. When everything feels steady, then begin to walk, confident that you've supported your body through every stage of the transition. And here's the part most people don't realize. This entire routine takes less than 2 minutes, but it can dramatically reduce morning dizziness, prevent falls, and protect your brain and heart over time. If you've ever stood up too fast and felt the room spin, your vision darken, or your knees weaken, this isn't just a morning habit, it's a safeguard. So tomorrow morning, before you jump out of bed, remember this sequence. Wake the ankles, sit with intention, pump the calves, stand with control. Your future self will thank you for it. And if this felt helpful, imagine what other small, overlooked habits could change how strong and steady you feel every single day. After 60, the body changes in quiet ways most people never warn you about. It's not just the joints, or the muscles, or the occasional stiffness when standing up. One of the most overlooked changes happens deep inside the body, within the blood pressure sensors that regulate circulation, oxygen delivery, and balance. After 60, blood pressure sensors respond slower. They don't adjust as quickly when you stand, move, or shift positions. That delay may be subtle at first, but over time it can affect energy, focus, stability, and even how clearly you think. Many seniors assume these changes are just normal aging, but what if they're not inevitable at all? As circulation becomes less responsive, The brain may receive oxygen a fraction of a second later than it used to. Nerves may fire slightly slower. Muscles may feel less coordinated. And balance, once effortless, can begin to feel uncertain. This doesn't mean something is broken. It means the body needs a different kind of support than it did at 40 or 50. The good news is that the body is incredibly adaptable, even later in life, when given the right signals at the right time. Most people try to solve these issues with stimulants, another cup of coffee, energy drinks, or sugar, hoping to feel more alert or steady. But stimulation isn't the same as circulation. You can feel awake while your brain is still underoxygenated. That's why so many seniors report feeling jittery yet foggy at the same time. What the body truly needs is improved blood flow regulation, especially during movement and position changes. This is where a simple, overlooked routine comes in. This routine gives them a head start. Rather than forcing the body to react after the fact, it gently prepares the blood pressure sensors in advance. It helps the body anticipate movement instead of scrambling to catch up. Think of it as warming up the communication system between the heart, blood vessels, nerves, and brain before the day even begins. When done consistently, this routine supports oxygen delivery throughout the body. Oxygen is not just fuel, it's information. Every cell depends on it to function efficiently. When oxygen delivery improves, nerve signaling becomes clearer and faster. Muscles respond more precisely. Balance improves because the brain receives real-time feedback from the body instead of delayed signals. And mental clarity often follows, not as a burst of artificial energy, but as a calm, steady sense of awareness. Many seniors report clearer thinking, not from caffeine, but from circulation. They describe feeling more present during conversations, less forgetful, more confident when standing or walking. These aren't dramatic overnight changes, but gradual improvements that compound over time. Small shifts that make daily life feel easier, safer, and more enjoyable. What makes this routine so powerful is its simplicity. It doesn't require intense exercise, special equipment, or exhausting effort. In fact, it's specifically designed to work with an aging nervous system, not against it. The goal isn't to push harder, it's to signal smarter. By gently activating pressure receptors and circulation pathways, the body relearns how to respond efficiently again. The science behind this is well established. Blood pressure sensors, known as baroreceptors, play a critical role in regulating heart rate and blood flow. When they become less sensitive with age, the body's ability to adapt quickly diminishes. But these sensors are not permanently turned off. They can be retrained. Just like muscles and coordination, they respond to repeated, gentle stimulation. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. A few minutes each day can be more effective than sporadic bursts of strenuous activity. Over time, the nervous system begins to trust the signals again. It stops overcompensating. Blood flow becomes smoother. The brain receives oxygen more reliably, and the body feels more stable as a result. Many people notice changes in balance first. Standing up feels steadier. Walking feels more confident. There's less hesitation, less fear of dizziness. Others notice mental changes, sharper focus, better word recall, a quieter mind. These improvements often surprise people because they didn't realize circulation was affecting their thinking in the first place. It's important to understand that this isn't about reversing age. It's about supporting function. Aging doesn't mean decline has to accelerate. With the right daily signals, the body can maintain resilience far longer than most people expect. The key is knowing where to apply those signals and how to do it safely. This routine respects the body's pace. It doesn't shock the system. It doesn't rely on adrenaline. Instead, it gently reminds the body how to do what it already knows, just a little more efficiently. That's why it works especially well for seniors who feel like they've tried everything, but still don't feel quite right. Another overlooked benefit is emotional clarity. When circulation improves, stress hormones often decrease. The body feels safer. The nervous system shifts out of constant alert mode. This can lead to better sleep, improved mood, and a greater sense of calm throughout the day. When the body feels supported, the mind follows. Over time, these small daily improvements create momentum. Energy feels more stable from morning to evening. Tasks that once felt draining become manageable again. Confidence grows, not from pushing limits, but from trusting the body once more. And perhaps most importantly, this routine restores a sense of control. Instead of waiting for symptoms to appear, you're actively supporting your body's foundational systems. You're not reacting, you're preparing. You're giving your circulation the head start it needs to support everything else. So if you've noticed subtle changes in balance, focus, or energy, if you felt like your body just doesn't respond as quickly as it used to, or if you've been relying on stimulants to feel alert but still feel foggy, this may be the missing piece. Because when circulation improves, everything improves. Oxygen delivery, nerve signaling, balance, mental clarity, not through force, but through alignment. And here's the most important part. This routine doesn't ask you to become someone new. It helps you return to the version of yourself that still exists beneath the noise. The one that moves with confidence, thinks clearly, and feels steady in their own body again. So before you reach for another cup of coffee, before you assume this is just aging, ask yourself one question. What if your body isn't slowing down? What if it's just waiting for the right signal to wake back up? Living alone does not mean living at risk. It means living aware. It means the silence around you is not emptiness, but information. It tells you when something is off, when your body needs attention, when your space needs order. Living alone is not about fear, it is about responsibility. When no one else is watching, your routines become your safety net. The way you wake up, the way you move through your home, the way you prepare for the day ahead. These small decisions quietly shape your resilience. Independence is not reckless. It is intentional. Living alone teaches you something powerful very quickly. No one is coming to save you from disorganization, from neglect, from delay. That is not a weakness, it is clarity. When you are the only one there, every habit counts. Your body is not fragile. It is precise. It thrives on rhythm, sequence, and predictability. It wants the right order, not constant protection. And when you give it that order, it responds with strength. You begin to notice how routines anchor you. The way you drink water before coffee. The way you stretch before sitting too long. The way you check that doors are locked not out of fear, but out of respect for your space. These are not paranoid acts. They are acts of self-trust. Preparation is protection, not because the world is dangerous, but because life is unpredictable. And preparedness gives you freedom. Living alone sharpens your awareness of time. You understand that mornings set the tone. When you rush, your body carries that tension all day. When you move with intention, your nervous system relaxes. You learn that consistency is not boring, it is stabilizing. The same breakfast, the same walk, the same wind-down routine at night. These repetitions are not cages. They are scaffolding. They hold you up when motivation disappears. Your home becomes an extension of your mind. Clutter creates noise. Order creates calm. When you live alone, there is no one else to blame for chaos or credit for peace. You see the direct link between how you maintain your environment and how you feel inside it. Clean counters invite clear thinking. Prepared meals reduce stress. A charged phone, a stocked medicine cabinet, a plan for emergencies. These are not signs of anxiety. They are signs of self-respect. Your body, too, responds to preparation. Regular meals regulate blood sugar. Sleep routines stabilize hormones. Movement keeps joints lubricated and balance sharp. None of this requires extreme discipline. It requires sequence. The right things, in the right order, done often enough to become automatic. When routines become automatic, they free your mind for creativity, focus, and joy. Living alone also teaches you to listen to discomfort early. There is no one else to notice if you seem off. You become attuned to subtle signals. A headache that means dehydration, a tight chest that means stress, fatigue that means rest, not weakness. You learn to intervene early, gently, before small issues grow loud. This is not hypervigilance. This is literacy in your own body. You stop waiting for emergencies to justify care. You stretch before pain. You eat before hunger becomes irritability. You rest before exhaustion becomes illness. Preparation shifts you from reactive to proactive. It turns survival into sustainability. And there is something deeply empowering about this. You realize you are not fragile. Fragility assumes constant threat. You are adaptable. You are responsive. You are capable of creating systems that support you. Your strength is not loud. It is quiet, built into your daily choices. It shows up when the power goes out and you already have a flashlight. When you get sick and you already have soup in the freezer. When stress hits and you already have a routine that grounds you. Living alone does not isolate you from safety. It places safety in your hands. It teaches you to design your life instead of drifting through it. You learn to anticipate needs instead of reacting to crises. This mindset spills into everything. Finances, health, relationships. You plan because you care about your future self. You protect your energy because it is finite. You say no more easily because your time matters. Preparation is protection, but not in the way fear sells it. Not in the sense of barricades and alarms and worst-case scenarios. Protection is hydration. It is sleep. It is knowing where your keys are. It is having a backup plan and rarely needing it. It is understanding your patterns well enough to adjust them when life shifts. When routines are in place, emergencies feel smaller. When order exists, chaos has less room to grow. You are not trying to control everything. You are creating margins. Space to breathe. Space to recover. Space to respond instead of panic. Living alone strips away excuses. And in that honesty, you find competence. You realize you can handle more than you thought. Not because you are tough, but because you are prepared. You build trust with yourself through follow-through. Every time you keep a small promise, drink the water, take the walk, lock the door, you reinforce the belief that you have your own back. And that belief changes everything. Because when you trust yourself, fear loses its grip. Loneliness becomes solitude. Silence becomes peace. Independence becomes confidence. You stop seeing yourself as someone exposed and start seeing yourself as someone equipped. Your routines are not rigid rules. They are living systems. They evolve as you do. Some days they are simple. Some days they are all you have. But they are always there, quietly holding you steady. Living alone does not mean living at risk. It means living with intention. It means understanding that safety is not something you wait for. It is something you build. One habit at a time. One prepared moment at a time. You are not fragile. Your body is intelligent. Your mind is capable. Your life does not need constant guarding. It needs the right order. So ask yourself this. If preparation is protection, what are you protecting yourself for? Survival, or the freedom to live fully, confidently, and on your own terms? Because the moment you realize that your routines are not restrictions, but power, that is the moment living alone stops feeling like a risk and starts feeling like your greatest advantage.